Happy Monday. Welcome to Screen Junkies Universe. It is a great Monday today because we are going to be talking about the best and worst movies of the year as determined by SAG and the PGA and the Razzies. Oh, but still, it's important. Dan Murrell's here.
Yeah, I flew in just for the show.
Yes, you did.
Literally.
From where?
I woke up in Denver, Colorado, very early this morning, visiting family with Mara, and then I'm here.
That's a true thing. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for coming to work today.
I'm on like hour 10 already. I'm ready to go. I got charts ahead of me, and then I'm going to fall asleep.
Yeah.
On the air.
I applaud your work ethic. I almost called in just because I didn't want to do it. Spencer Gilbert.
I was sick all weekend and Friday and a little bit of Thursday. Hi, guys. I've got Zika, SIDS, super flu, mad cow. I've got it all. I'm going to share it with you guys here today. I also have opinions on I'm told I have opinions on the SAG Awards, so I'll be sharing those as well.
You do. Well,
Expert
the Emoji
Insight,
Movie,
I believe, was the exact tweet.
The Emoji Movie is featured in what we will be discussing. I know you have opinions on that, as well as your pooping disease. Billy, the business, is with us to keep us on track today.
As much as I can.
Good luck to you.
It's a tough one.
I'm Roth Cornet, and we're going to get into it right now. SAG and PGA, which are two of the bigger predictors for what we will see from the Academy Awards. Of course, the nominations are out tomorrow, so then we'll really know what's nominated. But these are pretty good predictors about what is going to win because these are large voting blocks for the Academy Awards. PGA's is the Producers Guild. SAG is obviously actors. Huge voting blocks.
Big blocks.
Big blocks!
I believe the actors are the largest of the voting blocks in the Academy, but the producers also very large and often a bigger predictor sometimes for Best Picture than the SAG's generally a little bit of a better predictor, as you would imagine, for the acting awards.
Now, you can get into SAG by like retweeting a photo of yourself, holding a Subway sandwich. Is that correct?
That's called SAG New Media, Spencer.
I think that this, and you guys actually, I'm curious how this has changed because back in the day, SAG, you had to be like actually in a SAG role. It could be a relatively small role on a television show for like an under 5 or something like that, which is an under 5 lines or a guest star or whatever. But to get into SAG, to get into AFTRA, I think you could just join. But then they merged, so I'm not sure what the rules are.
I was just saying it to make a stupid joke. It's easy to get into SAG, I think, is the point.
I don't know, but either way, their vote matters. I mean, it's easy to get into SAG, right? But not everybody in SAG votes on the Academy Awards. It's just that a lot of people in SAG do vote on the Academy Awards. Twist that around in your mind. Here's Gary Oldman. I think this is not a surprise to anyone for Darkest Hour. This is like a career win. He won SAG. He's going to be nominated for the Academy Award, and I think there's a pretty good chance he's going to win.
Yeah, man, we were talking a little bit before we came on the air. I hate when people say that, but we were about Timothy Chalamet. I don't know. It just seems like weird. I don't know. Timothy Chalamet and Laurie Metcalf, who we'll talk about in a second, both a month ago. I mean, practically had Oscars glued into their hands. I mean, the wisdom was like they've won. They are the front runners, and it's gonna. And now, of course, Darkest Hour, which kind of stagnated in limited release for a while, is doing. It's actually of the limited release Oscar contenders the highest grossing. It's made like $40 million. So people found it and liked it, and they saw Gary Oldman with the makeup and the voice and doing his Gary Oldman thing. And now
he's got the makeup and the voice.
He's got the makeup. He's got the voice, and then Allison Janney, who we'll talk about with supporting actress. But it just like the Oscar race is like it's almost the kiss of death to be proclaimed the front runner. Early on, Margot Robbie, Best Actress. It was another. It was like she's gonna win it, and then in comes Frances McDormand. So you don't want to. The early buzz is almost just don't listen to it because it almost is never the person that they say at the beginning it's gonna be.
Yeah, I'm kind of. We were talking about this before we were live, but I love Allison Janney, and so I'm happy for her, and I liked her performance quite. I mean, it's a great performance in I, Tonya, but I loved Laurie Metcalf. I loved her in Lady Bird, and it's like such a dimensional performance, even if you just take that first sequence in the car. What she's doing is so incredible and quick and subtle.
Yeah, Allison Janney's just doing the less subtle version of that role. There's a lot of bad moms in prestige movies this year, and definitely Laurie Metcalf was the
there's a whole
best
movie
bad mom.
full.
I think Larry Metcalf is not a bad mom.
I was going to
she's a
say,
very good mom.
I think that's what made her performance so much better to me, is that you can't just call her a bad mom, because she has those aspects of any person that, you know, they're great and wonderful. And, you know, sometimes you hear someone talk about someone, you're like, that's weird that they hate that person because that's one of my friends. It's because there's so many dimensions to people. And I feel like that was such a great, you know, portrayal of like, yeah, she's got her own issues, but at the same time, she's, you know, she really does love her daughter.
Fair enough.
Villain roles are so, it's almost like you should be graded on a curve, because it's not easy, but you can tell actors have so much, you can go so much further like broad and like out there. And I mean, you know, Allison Jane got the cigarette, she's got the bird, you know, it's like, shut up, you know. I mean, she can like really, you can go so like out there with it that I think a lot of times J.K. Simmons whipping chairs at people's heads, and you know, I feel like you are at almost a disadvantage if you're doing a performance like Laurie Metcalf, which is a very kind of at times manic at sometimes, but also sometimes very measured, very subtle, and it's like it's tough to compete against like, you know, talking to the bird with the cigarettes and, you know, throwing knives at people. That's hard. It's like, how do you compare those two things?
She's just not rushing or dragging nearly enough. I think she's a great mom. I think that she's a very flawed mom who says a lot of messed up stuff to Lady Bird. But at the same time, you can tell it's coming from this place of like, she's so scared that she's going to be hurt in life. And she's so scared that she's not going to be prepared for it, and like she's just constantly, and then she's also insecure because she's sending her to this private school where her friends are rich, and she's like, you know, we're not rich, you know, because she's immediately defensive that she's not. And so there's so much about that I love and I think is completely human. But oh well, Frances McDormand is probably going to win.
Metcalf, but it's you know.
Part of me wonders too, like, at least I can at least speak to the PGA. I can't speak to SAG, but I do know that the PGA sends out their ballots to vote after the Golden Globes. So I kind of wonder how much of it is like people watching, like, all right, let's see what's going to be the winners. They watch the Golden Globes, like, okay, I guess we're all jumping on this train this year. Now, I know the Academy tends to vote differently sometimes. Sometimes it's a statement, but I wonder how much of it is kind of just jumping on the train.
Well, the Academy's weird now because they changed the way you do Best Picture, because Shape of Water won the Producers Guild Award for Best Picture, so people would say, like, oh, that's the front runner, which if it was like a straight up or down vote, I would agree, but like they changed it now, so like you rank them, and so it's based on like a composite. So it's like, you know, I think one of the reasons probably Moonlight did so won last year was that, you know, La La Land, there were some people that loved it and some people weren't so crazy about it. So probably a lot of people put La La Land at number 1, but a lot of people probably put La La Land at like number 6 or 7, and I bet Moonlight was probably number 2 or number 3 on a lot of people's choices.
Or
and
number
so
1
the composite,
for some of us,
or number 1. But I'm just saying, like, it's not just straight up or down. I vote for this one. You know, the way we vote for Best Picture is it's ranked, and so it's not as simple as like just a strict number of votes. So I don't know. Like with Shape of Water, it's I'm going to be very interested to see, because there's so many strong movies that I could see people reacting to. I think it's anyone's game.
But The Shape of Water to me is the one that like no one will hate. It's one that will be in everybody's top 5 or however many count towards Best Picture. It's so inoffensive unless
no, but that's the thing. Is it though?
People are offended by
old
it.
people,
Really?
I think a lot of old people are going to be like, what is this
Have
shit?
you talked to Max?
Having sex with
Have
a
you talked to
merman?
Max?
No.
Max is like offended by the notion
by
of a woman having sex
with
but
the
he's like,
fish man.
he's like, this is probably what like grandparents feel
Yeah.
about like same-sex relationships.
I think it's
This is
too
like,
far
he was
out
like,
there for
he
some
was
people.
just could not handle it.
There's a bunch. I've read a couple of like think pieces that are super.
The only way to say it.
that are like somehow magically. I'm like, can we take 5? Can we all take 5? We all need a 5. Like that are somehow offended by the fantasy movie in which ultimately. I don't know what to say a spoiler, but like you clearly get that she's getting together with the fish man, and people are offended.
You do get that she's getting with the fish man.
by
That's
the
clear.
lady fish man lovemaking.
It's a reverse Little Mermaid situation with the
she's a fish woman.
Yeah, and the muteness and like I don't know, man.
It's
to me,
it's the other way around.
Sure.
Exactly. To me, this was the most conventional of the best pictures. Where I was like, oh, okay, like this is it's a fairy tale love story. It's well shot.
Hollywood.
And it jerks off the old movie theater guy. So of course,
Not literally.
Not literally.
They're like, well, now I'm starting to see what people are offended about.
You know what this tells me? This best film is the one Oscar movie I haven't seen yet, and JT gave it to me, so I haven't seen it yet. But still, The Post must be terrible because the fact that The Post isn't winning best everything and it has those 3 people involved in it, it must be garbage.
No, it's not. It's just okay. Good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
But like,
it's good.
Good plus those 3 equals Oscars.
Not this year, and that's actually what I want to talk about next.
Okay.
Good segue. Spencer segue. Snark Attack. Jaws. Fish. Things. Let's quickly talk about them because we actually didn't set this up. Best Actor again went to Gary Oldman for SAG. Best Actress Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards. 3 Billboards is sweeping basically. Best Supporting Actor Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards. Best Supporting Actress Allison Janney, as discussed, for I, Tonya. Best Performance by a Cast 3 Billboards. Best Film, this is the PGA, The Shape of Water. Best Animated Film, Coco, big surprise. So here's the things that are missing from that list, and the things that people talked about early on, again, are Lady Bird and Get Out. Now, do we think that the conversation that's happening publicly about how these awards are going will shift that when people ultimately vote for the Academy Awards, and we'll see more love for Get Out and Lady Bird there? I think this is not a year for the old people movie The Post, which in years past, like 2-3 years ago, would have probably swept. I just think this is a different day now.
Yeah.
That feels like...
it's an honor to be nominated for those 2, I think. It's a machine. The Oscars are still a machine, and it is hard to beat Gary Oldman in a fat suit. I know the Academy is getting more and more progressive, but I don't think it's progressive enough to beat Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill. Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill that sentence may just be Oscar with Oscar hands.
Like and then that Oscar the Grouch comes out of a garbage can and delivers.
I mean, I think the makeup artist put his double chin on with an Oscar.
Yep.
It's still a bit stodgy. Plus, they're actors and they like Gary Oldman, and I'm sure they want to see Gary Oldman win an award. There's some people that don't want to see Gary Oldman win an award, but I think the actors want to see Gary Oldman win an award, and I think that's why he will. And there's a lot of a lot of times the genre movies. I think The Big Sick might, with screenplays, be like, here's your scrap, and Lady Bird might get a Best Director nod, and Saoirse, here's yours, and it's like, we'll give the kids their nominations, but I don't know. It would be hard for me to see those movies making a serious run.
Well, Gary Oldman, I think this is a career win, but the makeup should absolutely win because it's amazing makeup in that movie. But I don't know. I'm curious about it because we're not seeing much love for what would have been years ago the guarantees, like The Post, that if maybe Get Out and Lady Bird actually have a shot. It doesn't look like it yet. It looks like it's going to be 3 Billboards for a lot of things, and then Shape of Water.
Yeah, I think you're overestimating how plugged into like the conversation and reacting to things that are already out there that the Academy voting block is, because these are all super old colostomy bag having people who worked once in the 50s and got in, and they're on death's door and they just see Meryl Streep with their dying breath.
Can I ask a question? I want to stay on topic. I want to stay on topic. But for those of you watching and listening, thank you, first of all. And if you could tally the number of poop references that we've had so far today, I would be so very appreciative. Yeah, you're probably right. But I mean, still, like 3 Billboards isn't necessarily an old colostomy bag kind of a movie.
I know. And they did add a bunch of new members.
Frances McDormand is very...
True.
Loud in it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Here's the thing. Frances McDormand is amazing in 3 Billboards, but I think a large part of the voting block will see that and go like, she's acting a lot, and they'll vote for her because it's
what performance will wake you up the most times when you've fallen asleep in your in-home screening room? That's who's gonna win.
And people really do think The Shape of Water. I'm with you. To me, there's nothing really I think it says something about me. I don't know. There's nothing really all that weird about The Shape of Water, and yet people seem to have this response to it. Like, it's so bizarre.
I think it's to a lot of the older members, it's a very bizarre, weird, different kind of movie, and it's like, can they get over that? It does also have a scene of a merman in a movie theater. It's like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. I don't know who's going to win that.
What wins in the end? Well, those are some of the best movies of the year. Billy, any final thoughts?
I forgot to vote, man.
Oh,
I'm so bummed. I forgot to vote for the PGA Award next year.
Next year. See?
But I can't, so I won't complain about the winners of the PGA.
That's right. Maybe we can crowdsource it.
Vote.
Screen Junkies could vote for you.
Oh, I'm sure the guild will love that.
That's entirely legal. So the Razzie nominations came out today as well. So let's talk about some of the people's love to hate them movies this year. No surprises. Although I'm going to tell you two things I'm surprised about. One, Chips is nowhere represented, which is definitely the worst movie of the year. There's no doubt. It's just people didn't see it.
Didn't see that.
Two, Mothers, heavily represented. Let's talk about that. Worst Picture, Baywatch, The Emoji Movie, 50 Shades Darker, The Mummy, and Transformers. Worst Actress, Katherine Heigl in Unforgettable, Dakota Johnson, 50 Shades, Jennifer Lawrence in Mother, come on, Tyler Perry in Boo 2, Emma Watson in The Circle. It's the movie, it's not Emma, stop it. Worst Actress, Tom Cruise, The Mummy, Johnny Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean, Jamie Dornan, 50 Shades, fair. Zac Efron, Baywatch, Mark Wahlberg. What do you mean? Daddy's Home too? And Transformers? Doesn't he win immediately? Because he got 2 nominations for 2 different movies?
Zac Efron and Baywatch, again, it's
the movie.
Let's
it's
keep
not
going.
Zac.
Yeah, let's keep going with this. But it's like, this is so...
Supporting actor, again, this one is kind of bullshit. Javier Bardem for Mother and Pirates. Like, how do these awards work? Russell Crowe for The Money, Josh Duhamel for Transformers, Mel Gibson's for Daddy's Home, Anthony Hopkins for Collide and Transformers. Like, pick a lane and drive, kids.
What is Collide?
Yeah, what's Collide?
I don't even know.
Is that a Redbox
Is that
one?
Maybe.
Is that one of the Oldman team up? Is that one of the...
Collide.
Is Morgan Freeman in that movie?
I feel like Lon has probably seen it,
Lon has
regardless
seen
of what it
truly
is.
everything. You guys pitch what Collide is as soon as we're done with this. Kim Basinger for 50 Shades, Sophia Boutella for The Mummy, Laura Haddock for Transformers, Goldie Hawn for Snatched, and Susan Sarandon, give me a break, for A Bad Mom's Christmas. Susan Sarandon has never done a poor thing in her life. Worst screen combo, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Worst director, Darren Aronofsky for Mother, Michael Bay. So Darren Aronofsky and Michael Bay belong in the same category in this world. For Transformers, James Foley for 50 Shades, Alex Kurtzman for The Mummy, and Anthony Tony Leonidas for The Emoji Movie. Like the parenthetical. Tony. Come on, guys.
Come on.
Like,
Where's Fist Fight and all
Where's
that?
Fist Fight?
Exactly. Where's any movie
Chips?
other than the 5?
Where's
that
The
they
House? Like, there were some bad movies.
Ooh, The House. How
Bad
did The House
comedies.
not get on this?
Come on, man.
We did a thing with the Razzies way back when we first started Screen Junkies. They're so out. It's like this mentality from 30 years ago, like, we're gonna slay the sacred cow and make fun of movies. Well, you've been lapped about 87 different times. No, I'm serious. It's like, this is like such the like Hollywood like outsiders idea of like what are the worst movies of the year. They picked the 5 that had the worst Rotten Tomatoes scores that people will go like, yeah, that one sucked, and it's like, what's the point? The whole Mother thing. Whoever the 3 people that vote for this thing.
Who votes? Who is the?
I have no idea.
It's a dude. It's some dude and some other people.
Rude.
Acting.
But again, the fact that
acting
Mother
a
is so
lot.
heavily represented is, to me, is like, that is the surface on which they're analyzing film, which is, it's just like, I'm no fan of Mother. I did not enjoy that movie. Really, in the least, but I would never be like, Darren Aronofsky, you should be ashamed of yourself. Here is your Razzie, son. It's like, it was a weird-ass movie that some people will like and some people will hate. It's not like one of the worst movies of the year.
It's not like Transformers, XV, Double I, The Last Night. Like, it's all over the place. It's upsetting. It's upsetting and it's meaningless. And granted, so are the Oscars. But put this in that category.
You want
as well.
the Razzies to do better?
Yeah,
You don't,
do better,
the Oscars
Razzies.
so much you don't care about, but the Razzies.
It's no Screenies.
Well,
actually, I'm looking at this right now. Why is it XV double?
That's
isn't
their
that
idea
17?
of comedy.
Really,
Billy? You see, there
Every
have been
single
5.
time?
You see, there have been 5 Transformers movies, and they're comedically exaggerating how many there have been.
But they don't do that with any other film. No other film in this entire list has a joke
Pirates
title.
of the Caribbean has a 13 behind it, Billy, because that one also has had many installments.
They should just put infinity signal.
Can I say where I'm offended here?
Tell me.
Not because they're making fun of these movies, because whatever, they're right. Most of these movies suck. Comedically, we work really hard here to make fun of movies, and to see first draft shit like this get
any combination of
headlines,
2 characters, 50 Shades Darker.
Like,
there's only 2 people in the movie.
You gotta up your game here. There are a lot of other people making fun of movies, and this is not cutting it anymore.
Oh, who is it? Can anybody answer me?
It's some dude and some other people that like write in letters or something. They peaked when Halle Berry showed up to get her Razzie. That's the crescendo. You got an A-list star to come and get one of these things, fold the tent up, and now every year it's like, remember these terrible ones? I
can't wait to see the Razzies show up in my email from like my evil step grandmother, like forward, RE, forward, 2017 Razzies. That's the level of comedy we're working with here.
You can go so many different places with making fun of movies and with categories, and you could look at the actual worst films of the year and find fun little things that they all had in common, and cleverly, this is the MTV Movie Awards do better than this.
Also, you have all year to work on these.
Better than
we
this.
make multiple videos a day. Yeah. You have all year to work on your Razzie jokes. And this is what you bring us?
Guys, I don't know. Comedy Gold, Johnny Depp and his worn out drunk routine for worst comedy video.
Worn out drunk routine, Rummy. Go hit the bricks to the
Any
next
2 obnoxious emojis for the Emoji Movie. Boom, roasted. Oh, obnoxious. Tyler Perry in either the ratty old dress or worn out wig from Medea. He wears a wig and a dress. Hilarious! It's not that they're doing Razzies. It's like, up your game, Razzies. You were in a competition now.
This is the most passionate I've seen. Certainly Spencer. Like, I actually believe that you care.
I care about comedy, and this is where comedy goes to die.
All right, you want to reboot the Razzies?
Yes.
All right, let's reboot those
Can
Razzies.
we give the Razzies a Razzie?
Yeah.
We just did,
Worst
I
Razzie
think.
nominations.
But Darren Aronofsky, worst director. Like, that just shows a fundamental just not understanding of what Mother even was.
Yeah.
I heard it was terrible.
They didn't
Nominated for worst director. That'll show them.
I'm kind of surprised,
I assume they didn't see it.
just based on the internet, that like Justice League and Last Jedi didn't find themselves somewhere on this list.
Well, no, because Billy, someone might actually get angry at them. And the Razzies, there's nothing more
offensive.
Razzie than taking the cheapest shot possible for something that no one would. That's what they think Mother is. They think Mother is a movie that they can like throw cheap shots at and no one will push back on. It's like, no, you don't even. Did you even see Mother? I guarantee you, no one on the Razzie nominating committee saw Mother.
Oh no, definitely not.
Before any of these, it's just like, I heard it was awful. Jennifer Lawrence. Oh, it's like
we don't like her anymore, do we? I will say this: do you think if Justice League and or Last Jedi had been nominated, that there would be protests? Outside of
the thing is, here's the thing. I have gone on record. I don't really care.
It was a
I
staged
like both
photo
of those
op.
movies. I think most people. I think it certainly would have gotten a lot more like videos surrounded. Like, I would have jumped on that headline for sure. Like, Justice League is the worst, and now the Razzies can prove it. But that's about as much as you can do with that.
I hope that would be the actual title.
Oh yeah, and the thumbnail would be me going like this. Like, I can prove it. Yeah.
You liked it.
I liked it. I for whatever reason, it'll be like in my guilty pleasure shelf of like, you know what? I can't explain why I like this, but yeah,
doing
it
superhero
there's a lot of things that I can't explain why I like.
I will say this, like, if you've seen Mother, that final sequence is one of the most well-directed sequences that we've seen this year, whether you like the movie
what's happening,
or
but
not.
It's pretty intense.
It's incredibly crafted. Like, whatever. I mean, I knew what was happening. I don't think it's like that hard to follow, but No!
Why was there a sex slave ring in the house that she was almost abducted into for like 15 seconds? Then it was just onward and upward.
I think it was like this. Do we really?
No,
get
it's
into,
a different
Is that a different thing? Let's do this over a coffee later. He'll never go to a coffee, so I don't have to have that conversation.
We made fun of Mother. We did an honest trailer for Mother, but
There's a lot of problems with
we at
it.
least showed I'd like to think we at least showed a functional understanding of what the movie was about, or what its aims or intents or goals were.
We didn't just go.
That is literally what a raspberry is, though. That is the sound,
right.
Spencer.
You're right.
They are
I
on
want to see
brand.
Spencer's Razzies. Let's reboot the Razzies. Let's reboot the Razzies right
Spennies.
here on the
Spennies.
Spennies, right here on SJU. How many weeks do you need to put that together, the Spenny Awards?
A
week.
day.
Okay.
I'll be back tomorrow.
That's how long it
So-
took.
So the same amount of time.
At some point this week, when Billy and I need a story, we will have the Spennies.
I already wrote half the screenies.
I don't care.
I'm out of fake awards.
Right, Spencer.
We got the
right,
Razzies
right,
coming up.
right. Why do you think we have you here for your brilliance?
If you'd seen Baywatch, Zac Efron is not the worst actor, and it's a terrible movie. I'm not going to disagree with Worst Picture, but it's like, well, I don't know. We don't want to piss off The Rock because he's like a really strong, successful man who might say hello to us on the street. Let's just make fun of Zac Efron instead. It's like it's just like who can we make fun of safely?
So you think that their crime is being they haven't watched the movie, so they're ignorant. They're old, which I think, according to this panel today, is a crime. 2 and 3, that they're just not funny. Yeah?
I think
Mainly
3
that they're not
is
funny.
mainly the last one. If they were funny, all would be forgiven.
All right. You can be old as long as you're funny, Betty White. Keep it up.
We are so going to win a 2018 Razzie for worst YouTube channel.
Yeah, totally, 100%. And it's frankly well-deserved. Except for what you guys do, which is great, which is why I want to see your Razzies later this week when Billy and I, as mentioned, do need a story. Thank you for Slow News Day, Spennies. We can't make a headline out of that. Maybe we can do Justice League is the worst movie, and I can prove it. Spenny said so.
Nope. Not going to go on that death march.
That is a march to death threats. Thank you for joining us today. I don't think we have time for fan questions, unfortunately. We were going to get to some today.
They are the Matt Damon of
I'm looking at Billy.
Billy, are you giving them the wrap it up, or are you giving them
Yeah,
questions?
what are you doing?
There's only one. There's one.
There is.
There's
Tell
one,
us the one.
Just
Time for one,
because I
guys.
read it and I was legitimately thinking about it. So Claire had asked the other day, have you ever been excited to see your hometown somewhere special being a film location or even like just name dropped? And I was thinking, I was like, when I was a kid, it was either Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or Honey, I Blew Up the Kid that mentioned Fresno. And I remember as a kid, I got very excited. So I was thinking about it literally this weekend because this question came in on Friday. I was like, but I can't remember what the line was. So it's on Netflix, and I was like, I can remember what part it was. Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Yeah, Fresno was just like a big freaking joke in that movie that I didn't understand at all when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, Fresno. But he's like, what? It's like Wayne Zielinski's like, what do you think I'm some crackpot scientist who just does strip mall science in Fresno? It's like literally, he just like,
Oh, show's over, guys.
we just got
Billy,
to
we
wrap up.
pushed our luck. We put JT, get the stick.
Oh,
Get the stick.
Show them how we do it.
No, don't cut away. Let's show people how this show works. Maybe this is what it takes for us to go public with this, to show how this show actually operates. Thank you, JT. This is how we do things.
I'm done. That was
The Razzies, you can't do better than us? Look at what just happened.
Look at what we're working with here.
We in the darkness.
Our mics don't work because I'm the one putting them together. What do I know? I'm like doing the lipstick and the mic and the things. Oh, thank you, JT.
Billy, do the honors.
I'm done. Bye.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Okay.